Hello, my friends, and welcome to week 3 of our April Poetry Celebration, where we are writing poetry, reading poetry, and loving poetry all month. I'm so glad you're here. Poets, I want to thank you from my heart for your wonderful poems. Thank you, thank you. It's been a pleasure and an honor to read your poems so far. If you sent me poems in week 1 or in week 2 or both weeks, I truly appreciate it. So please keep writing and keep sending them. So this week I have a selection of poems from you from this wonderful treasure trove. It's always hard for me. I'd like to read every single poem, but I won't, just so that we're not here for 4 hours. So you might recall that last week our spark was to write a poem about about a moment of understanding. And so we got some wonderful poems. The first I'm going to read you has an Irish language phrase in it, Banatee, which means the woman of the house. And she's often the host at a bed and breakfast as well. So this is a poem by Val, and I just loved it. I'm from Newcastle on Tyne. Can you understand my accent? Said one guest at the Donegal B&B. Well, I speak American, but I do understand English, the other replied. Do you understand me? The Banatee just laughed as she brought them breakfast. Food is one language of hospitality. Thank you for that, Val. Caitlin, my darling niece, wrote this poem called I Know. I Know. And it's really a poem about understanding in words and beyond words. I know. On Tremont Street, a baby in a striped cap wails. Oh, I know, her mother coos, jostling the child and patting its bum. Tapping her foot on wet pavement, she adjusts her belongings and finesses them into the navy blue car. Construction and sirens wail too. The baby is soothed by more bouncing. Mom adds another, oh, I know, that says, we've been here before, and this will change, and it's time we head home. Words that can tidy mess and shake us into feeling something new. I come home to write this all out, slamming my window shut, thinking about the many heroic acts that are packed up and driven far away. Oh, I know, the page says back to me. It always does. Thank you for that, Caitlin. I just love it. I love it. And don't we all just need to hear sometimes? I know. It's true. Destiny wrote a longer poem, and I just want to read you one section of this poem because it's about understanding a language that I want to value and I want us to think about together. This is what Destiny writes. The most beautiful language may be one witnessed through sight, sign language, words designed by the motioning of hands, an epic performance, sort of a dance, truly expressive beauty. Ears need not hear, witnessed by eyes that can see. The heart, most definitely, always feels. Thank you, Destiny. I love that. And I think it's important that we acknowledge this beautiful language which is in our vicinity. Now, here, a moment of understanding. This is a poem by Terry. It's called The Homesick Flute. And she sent me a note that said that this is kind of a true story about a flute that wouldn't play. And an Ojibwe elder had the answer to why. I just thought this was marvelous. The homesick flute. He cursed the flute that would not play, made threats to throw it far away. This cedar flute, whose voice was mute, had nothing more to say. He spoke of how the flute was made, hollowed out by knife and blade. With heart now gone, it had no song, and craftsmen felt dismayed. An elder wise was passing by and heard in heart the poor flute's cry. When craftsman spoke the sad flute's fate, the elder asked to try. He took the flute with aging hand from him who did not understand. With forest trees a song on breeze, he headed for the timberland. The craftsman followed close behind, the elder who was wise with time. Cedar songs were growing strong with every hill they climbed. He told the flute his heart he'd give by blowing spirit wind within. The homesick stick, recovered quick, once home again with kin. When cedar flute makes raspy note, like tears are choking in its throat, just let it hear the cedars near. It simply misses home. That is glorious. That is truly a moment of understanding. And now we understand too. Dorothy gave us this poem about understanding an animal that is beloved to many of us. I'll say no more, but it is called cat tongue. More than mere meow, the language of the cat, as also spoken by the ancient hermits, is both simple and complex to learn. It's that of time. It's spoken in the accent of lap and purr, of shifting sunbeams marked by the stretch, the curl, insistent grooming punctuated by the nimble catch of sparkling dust on drifting air. To speak it, honor it, alone, go slowly, rolling over to await a vision, bringing deepest pleasure, as with the eternal Om. Meow, meow. Dorothy, that is marvelous. Thank you. And actually, there is a kitten looking straight at me right now. Perhaps I just said a word that is comprehended by my cat. Mona gave us a wonderful moment of understanding. It's called First Moment of Understanding. I was told newborns can imitate you from the instant they are born. When I held my daughter in my arms for the first time a few moments after her birth, I gazed into her beautiful brown eyes intently. She gazed into my eyes intently. I stuck out my tongue. She stuck out her little tongue. She imitated me. We had communicated. I was amazed. My heart was filled with awe and joy. I love that, Mona, and I love that feeling of connection, and also that really things are even more miraculous than we know. And we're finding that out all the time. So thank you for that. Now, I want to hook right onto that moment at the beginning of life with one from the end of life that truly moved my heart. This little section is poems about love and age. And this poem by my friend Margot is called The Blanket. And I'm going to read you the poem and then I'll share a little bit about what Margot told me in her letter. The Blanket. When age started to take you and remold your clay, I brought you home with me to stay, and I watched a strong man whom I adored and loved slowly and sadly drift away. But you lay a blanket on me and tucked me in, and I understood then that love can still win. And as that brutal age spilled from your cup, I knew you were still in there when you covered me up. I have a chill as I read that. That is so beautiful. Margot let me know that one time her father, near the very end of his life, he could scarcely walk, but she had fallen asleep looking after him, and he got up and put a blanket over her. I'm going to always remember that, Margot. Thank you so much. Sarah gave us just as a little helper for us this lovely, wonderful little poem. It's called "The Good News About Losing Things All the Time with Advancing Age" by Sarah. When we what we put away to find when needed, but can't, reappears in time. Nothing is lost. And finally, a little poem about love that I just loved. And it's called Bear Love, and it's by Wendy. And Wendy and Joseph, whose poem was read last week, are creating marvelous poems all month. And I like to think that their house is like a creative hive right now. So this is Bear Love by Wendy. Love is a pot of honey. Pooh Bear would understand. Inner sweetness. Who's guarding your jar? Who's guarding your jar of honey, of love? Love is a pot of honey. Now, just right there is a great way to find poem stuff. Love is, and then find a real thing, right? Like not an abstraction, but just as Wendy has done, a real thing, a pot of honey. Love could be a grand piano, and then make that happen. Love can be a cat lying in the sun, and then make that happen. Think about how that could be. Such a fun way to start with that. We had some wonderful poems about spring. This one comes from Chrissy in Northern Ireland. I just loved it. It's a real celebration. And I'm reading it to you as I just had to shovel my driveway from last night's snowfall here in mid-April. So I appreciate this all the more. By Chrissy, a poem about spring. Source light slips under crusty eyelid slits, like a golden ribbon of deliciousness, encircling all things, greeting all that flits across its majestic path around our earth. Everyone and everything is licked fully by the light of April's sparkling sunbeams, like bottles of pink champagne popping, bursting forth armies of humming bees and luscious trees, fully decorated with songbirds chattering news into the breeze. A carnival of colors poke out from fizzy flower heads, sending dizzy scents across the seedy sky. Children grow a foot higher each day. As energy abounds around this luscious light, laughter reaches well into the night. Barbecues give way to the morning dew, as life and light renews and spreads April's sugary delight. That is a joy, and it is delicious. There's so much delicious imagery in there. I loved April's sparkling sunbeams like bottles of pink champagne popping. I also loved children grow a foot higher each day. That is so true. That is a real celebration. Thank you, Chrissy. I love it. My dear friend Kathleen, who is an ardent, devoted, and loving gardener, uh, extols the courage and the resilience and just the sheer might of green and growing things in this poem called Soldiers of Spring. Garden on the move with supplies of light, rain, and irrepressible progress captures me daily. Awake from slumber, O perennial pilgrim, warrior miracle, lifting your blade to pierce the darkness. Little green nubbins, pushing and parting dense dirt, breaking through winter's old shield in epic return. Bravo! It is all happening, and it is exciting, and plants are warriors. I love this. Is also such a powerful image that I will remember now. Thank you, Kathleen. Finally, in this section, Sheila gave us just the sense of bliss of all this. It's called Bliss Watching. Red house finch, dominion at the copper water bowl, beneath weeping cherry branches. Remember, we fall and fall again, bliss watching, waiting in the wings. We're part of this as well. Finally, our last section, we had some wonderful poems about writing poems, and I love to share two of them with you. The first is by Jen, and this is called The First Poem I Wrote, and it just touched my heart so much. We need to be heard. It's important that we share our poems, and it's important that the poem is recognized in some way. So I always say, I think this is really important to reiterate. If you feel like, if you're in a place and you're sharing your art, your poems, whatever it is, and it makes you feel like sharing more, stay. If you feel like somehow you don't have to be flattered, but just to be heard and honored and respected in a place of respect and mutual care, stay. If you feel like stopping doing your art, run for the hills. So, Jen in this poem found a good place. The first poem I wrote. The first poem I wrote was in third grade for a homework assignment. I had fun writing it, a retelling of The Princess and the Pea. I'm quite sure that it rhymed and was written in my most elaborate, curliest cursive. I don't remember a single line of it, but I remember that when my teacher asked me for a copy that she could keep, I thought I might burst from the sheer pleasure of someone wanting my words like they were a gift worth holding on to. Yes, and they are. And they are. And finally, now we began with a poem which had a little bit of Irish in it, the Banatee, the woman of the house. We're going to complete our circle of poems with a poem that has some Irish in it, Ismihij, which means it's high time, it's time. And this is by Lucy. And I just love this as a call to arms again. Ismihij. Life is too short, it said. The poet in waiting, life too long. Don't worry if you think that you have nothing to pen. Can't you say something kind? Can't you give someone thanks? Write it as a sweet tweet. Write it as a blessing nested text. Don't let this moment pass. Ismai ismihij. Truly, it's high time. So, dressing my thoughts up as a poem, these thoughts tiptoe in my mind. A slow action taking time until just at the right moment and the right angle, the words will squeeze through the eye of the needle of courage. Challenge felt agus ismihij, high time. Now she says, Anjeru, the end. P.S. Or is it Antus, the beginning? I hope, Lucy, it is Antus, the beginning. Thank you all so much for your poems. Thank you, everyone, every one of you. The poems I read, the poems I didn't, I read them all, and I really appreciate them. So, a new spark for you. I'd love to read a poem for you that will give us our spark. And it's by Ted Kooser. Ted is born in 1939, and he was our poet laureate, I think in 2004, if I'm remembering. And he's a magnificent poet. He worked during his working life, all his working life, he was an insurance agent, and I think he would get up around 5:30 in the morning and write poems from 5:30 to about 7 o'clock. And you really could go, you could hardly find a more wonderful poet, is all I'm going to say. So this poem is called Dandelion, and it gives us our spark this week. Dandelion. The first of a year's abundance. Oh, gracious, sorry, that was my little notes. No worries. The first of a year's abundance of dandelions is this single kernel of bright yellow, dropped on our path by the sun, sensing that we might need some marker to help us find our way through life, to find a path over the snow-flattened grass that was blade by blade unbending into green on a morning early in April. This happening just at the moment I thought we were lost. And I'd stopped to look around, hoping to see something I recognized. And there it was, a commonplace dandelion, right at my feet, the first to bloom, especially yellow, as if pleased to have been the one chosen from all the others to show us the way. Isn't that magnificent? I love that we can read the world that way. So that is our spark for this week. If you like, if you feel like it, write a poem about a moment of hope. So really, we had our first spark was a moment of beauty, last week a moment of understanding, and this week a moment of hope. Maybe when you read the signs pointing to an all is well feeling, something that stood out for you and said, there is hope. We are not lost. I cannot wait to read that from you. Now, for this week as well, uh, really our dare kind of comes from Ted Kooser's poem as well, and that is just to pay attention to what plants and trees and flowers you're noticing around you. And we had Kathleen's marvelous poem about the plants as mighty warriors. See what calls to you. And perhaps you'd like to write a poem. Maybe a poem will come out of your observation of a plant. I'm going to read just one of my own um, about tulips, and it's called The End of the Tulips. And I'm sure you know what it looks like when the tulips are about ready to be done. This poem is about that. The end of the tulips. Ah, let's not be sad that their seeds spilled not on some patch of honest earth, but instead on the kitchen counter, as I cut them down 2 inches to give them one more day. Yes, they are like ballerinas, dancing ever lower to the stage in their shining pink gowns that spiral open in descent. But let's not dwell on the comparison. And yes, we could easily, so easily, read our shared fate in the brief flare of their existence and mourn them and everyone we have loved who is gone. But not tonight, okay? Right now, they look more like glamorous pink snakes or a debauched hydra stumbling out of the bushes. Look at them. Don't you think there's something a bit sexy about this business of letting go? Well, thank you, my friends. I'm excited to read more poems. Please send them to me by Friday. I think it's the 18th. I don't have my notes now, but 5 o'clock, kate@katechadbourne.com. Uh, and again, please, no attachments. That really saves me a step. And I would love to read them. And please do, if you haven't, please subscribe and also like this video. These poetry is rather a hard sell in this world, and I really could use a little bit of a hand in getting the word out about poetry and these videos, um, and just the encouragement of your comments, your likes, your subscribes. It means a lot to me. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a marvelous and inspiring week of looking for hope and being inspired by our brothers and sisters, plants and trees and flowers. I hope you have a wonderful time, my friends, and I will see you next week.